Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 164. My name is Stephanie. I am the Medium in the Middle. And today we are talking about Reiki and energy. So this is going to be specifically if you're a Reiki practitioner, if you are a newer Reiki student, if you're just interested in Reiki and energy, this is a conversation for you today. And just like a lot of my podcast episodes, this has been inspired by a conversation that I was having with, surprise, surprise, one of my mentees. So I run a one-on-one mentorship program and I work with people one-on-one over 3 months. We have a lot of good conversations, and those conversations have been inspiring a lot of my podcast episodes. Like, ooh, so-and-so asked a good question. I should talk about this on the podcast. Ooh, that's a really good point you made. I should talk about this on the podcast. So I love getting inspiration from a lot of different areas, and it's just so happens to be coming from my mentees. So I'm recording this at the end of March, and it is starting to feel like spring. I can smell it in the air. The sun is shining. And even though it's still cold in Banff, it's like +1 degrees and there's snow everywhere. It gets me excited. I love spring. I love summer. I'm such a sun worshiper. I can't wait to take Archie for long 2-hour walks every day in the sunshine. And this is a great time for manifesting. So this is your reminder to start manifesting. Make sure that this is always something in your energy, something you're focusing on, something you're thinking of. What are you calling into your life? What do you want? What are you focusing on? Spring is a really, really good time energetically. Things are sprouting. So all those things that you worked on with your goals in January or December, don't forget about them. Focus on them now. Call them into your life. And spring always feels so fresh, so new. I love it. I love the energy of spring. So don't forget to work on your manifesting. I have been manifesting like crazy over here, and I've been manifesting so quickly, it's been really blowing my mind. And even saying that it blows my mind, I shouldn't say that because I expect this and the universe delivers and everything is abundant. But when things happen so quickly, it's like, whoa, holy, whoa, whoa, whoa. So ask and you shall receive. Put the energy out there and watch the words that you say. I have so many episodes about manifesting. You can go back and listen to them if you need a little refresher, because now is the time. Spring is the time. So we're going to start this week's episode with a card pull, and I was pulling from the Kyle Gray Angel Guidebook, and I pulled the card Surrender. Surrender is a spiritual practice, and it's not an easy one. But angels are working in your favor, and their miracles will unfold with ease when you move into a state of trust. So call back your power and stop allowing external forces to divert you from the miracles you deserve. Take time to realize that in order to be helpful, you must surrender to your need for control over the situation that is on your mind. Hand over your concerns and the entire situation to your spiritual allies. When you do so, you will allow angels of light to swoop in and help everything transform. If you find yourself having difficulties letting go of the reins, it's because there's a part of you that's not willing to receive the help or miracles you deserve. Hand over all of your concerns to the universe and let the miracles in. Ooh, surrender. As always, if you want to see the card, I post it on Instagram every week at Medium in the Middle. And as a friendly reminder, I only have one Instagram account. There are so many scam accounts. I swear a new one appears once a week, but they are not me. So just know I will never message you for a reading. I will never DM you for money. Everything is done on my fancy dancy website. So at Medium in the Middle is my only Instagram. TheMediuminthemiddle.com is the only way to book with me. Let's jump in to announcements. Thank you to everyone who attended the Advanced Reiki workshop this past weekend. It was such an incredible workshop. So many people attended live. So thank you for a great time. It was really nice to have Reiki conversations. As a Reiki master teacher, I can talk about Reiki forever, and it really lights me up. If you missed that, or if you're not ready for the course just yet, the replay will live on my website and you can purchase it there. But my only other announcement is May Reiki courses. So March and April are sold out, but the next chance to learn Reiki Level 1 is May 13th and 14th. That course is about half sold out, and then there is a Level 2 at the end of May that still has a few spots in it. So if you have been waiting to learn Reiki, if Reiki is calling your name, May 13th and 14th is the next opportunity. But I run Reiki Level 1 courses virtually about once a month. So you will know when the time is right. You will know when Reiki's calling your name. So don't feel rushed. They will always be there when you are like, ooh, that's my course. This is my date. I have actually the weekend free. Wow, nothing's going on with the kids. That's when it's your time to sign up. So don't feel rushed. I host them often. They're very popular. They do sell out about a month or two in advance. So if you see a date that's yours, sign up. And I promise you won't regret it. And those are the announcements. So, like I mentioned, the inspiration from today came from a conversation I was having with one of my mentees, and we were discussing kind of the deeper layers of Reiki and how, as you progress as a Reiki practitioner, as does your Reiki, and we were talking about it in a metaphor of going deeper into the layers of the onion. So when you first start, it kind of feels like you can only hit the first 1 or 2 layers of the onion. The more you work with Reiki, you go a little bit deeper into the onion. And then after years of experience, you're going into 7, 8, 9, 10 layers of the onion and people's energies and really getting to the deep stuff. And it was a really good conversation, but she said something and it's just my teacher brain was like, doo-doo-doo. And she said, it's crazy because, I thought that getting attuned to Reiki, I just expected to know everything. She said I had really high expectations that by Sunday at 5 p.m., I would fully understand energy, I would understand Reiki, it would move so fast through me. And she said I didn't realize how much practice and understanding of energy was needed to really get into it. Now, she said that she's had experience and she's been working with Reiki for a few years. She said, now I get it. She's like, but I expected all of this on day 1. And I said, oh my gosh, thank you for saying that, because I feel like everybody has that expectation. We're all adults trying to learn something new. And then when we do, we're like, why don't I get everything now? And it really is like the layers of an onion. You get layer 1, and then you get layer 2, and then you get layer 3, and then but we're sitting here like, no, we want all 10 layers now. Tell me everything now. Let me understand everything now. No, I needed to understand this by 5 o'clock. It's 5:02. Why don't I fully understand? And it's funny, and I'm sure you're smiling on the other end of this, but it's so true. Everyone is like, why don't I understand how it works? And I tell all my students, practice for 50 hours. After you practice for 50 hours and you journal about it and you keep in notes of your experience and you try on as many different people as possible, then you might kind of get layer 1 and 2. After years of working with it, you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, but it doesn't mean that Reiki's not for you. It doesn't mean that it's not working. It just means that things need practice. So I want to explain this because we then had a good conversation about all of the other things that we pay attention to when it comes to Reiki. So I like to explain the body as like a puzzle. And when I'm doing Reiki or when someone else is doing Reiki on you, you are collecting pieces of the puzzle. So say I start on your feet, I might get a few pieces of the puzzle. Then I go to your head, I might get a few more pieces of the puzzle. Then I'm working on your arms, a few more pieces, your belly, a few more pieces. And then around the halfway mark, I have about half of the puzzle done. And I'm starting to get an understanding of what's going on. I'm like, ooh, interesting. And then after 45 minutes, most of the puzzle is complete. I'm just trying to find the last few pieces that's going to make this puzzle complete. And by the 60-minute mark, I'm like, aha, I understand your puzzle. I understand why your energy is moving this way. I understand why your foot's like this and your shoulder's like this and you can't fall asleep at night. Look at all this energy that's now balanced because I have the full puzzle complete and I can see the full picture. It's not just the corner of the puzzle. It's not just the outline of the puzzle. It is now a full, complete puzzle. And we had the conversation around the client's expectations. She said so many times I, just start and I'm on hand position 1, or I just touch the client for the first time. And the client says, so how's my energy? What's going on? She's like, whoa, 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 I just touched you. Like, let me get some pieces of the puzzle to understand what's going on. But as humans, it's normal. We want everything now. Why don't you know everything in the first 30 seconds or the first few minutes of the session? But it's at the end of the session that everything makes sense. So imagine you're building a puzzle without knowing what the final picture looks like. So you start on the corners, then you get your edges, then you put all the blues together and all the whites together, and then you realize it's a sky. You're like, oh, it's a sky. Okay, so that means this green must be the grass. Okay, I'm going to put the grass down here. Oh, it's a landscape. Then it all makes sense. That's the same as a Reiki session. We're moving around and collecting information. But there's so much more that goes into the puzzle. And that's what I wanted to talk about on this episode. So, the more you work with people, you will start to notice common things. For example, body language. How do they walk into the room? What are things that they say? What are things that they repeat? What are common ailments that they might report? And I use this example in my Reiki trainings when I'm trying to talk about the chakras and how they feel and how we hold energy. And I always use the example of getting fired and getting a raise. And I say, what happens when you get a $20,000 raise? How do you feel? You feel great. Your chest is open. Your arms are open. You probably go home with your hands up being like, honey, I got a $20,000 raise. It's very outward. Your energy is coming up. Your arms are open. Your chest is wide. You're feeling good. Now, how's your body language when you just got fired? Your head is low. Your chin is sinking. Your arms are crossed. Your energy is down and protected. No one tells you they got a $20,000 raise with crisscrossed arms, chin down, looking down, low energy, low, hey, I got a $20,000 raise. No one says that. You say, hey, I got a $20,000 raise. Oh my God. And energetically, this affects your energy. So are you feeling good and high and open, chest open, excited? Or are you feeling low? The chin is low. You're not feeling good. You're not feeling confident. Maybe you just had some bad news. Maybe you're going through a lot right now. And we were also talking about how the way you walk into a Reiki session should be very different than the way that you leave. There is literally going to be a change in your body language. Another example I'll give is the third eye. And think of the third eye as your forehead. If you don't want to know something, if you don't want to be aware, what do? You literally cover your forehead, you look down, and you say, no, I don't want to know, don't tell me. If there's a scary movie on and you don't want to see, what do? You literally cover your third eye. You literally cover your forehead and you look down and close your eyes. What are you going to do when someone's telling you a juicy story? You're here for the tea. You're here for the gossip. Your eyes are wide open. You're leaning towards them. Your chin's probably up a little bit. You're on the edge of the seat. Your third eye is wide open because you're paying attention. You want to know. You're involved. You're literally open. So much of our body language is connected to our chakras, which is directly connected to our energy. So again, as Reiki practitioners, I'm noticing, how do you walk in the room? How do you hold yourself? What are the first few things you say to me? Have you repeated 3 times that something is really hard for you? Have you told me 3 times that something is bothering you? What are you saying? How do you lay down? Do you feel comfortable? Are you relaxing? Is your body having a hard time relaxing? all of these things will help me understand what your energy is doing to give me pieces of your puzzle a lot quicker. And I always like to compare Reiki to a massage because most people in their lives have had a massage. And if I had a massage appointment and I walked in limping, my massage therapist would say, "Hey, Steph, why are you limping? What's going on? Is it your hip? Is it your back?" And I would say, "Oh, yeah, I hurt my low back. I don't know what's going on." And they would ask me some questions. They'd get some information about how I hurt my back. And then they would get to work on my back. Reiki is the same. If you walk in and you feel all over the place, or I can tell you're hanging low, or I can tell things are heavy, I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? How are you feeling? Oh, you have a lot of anxiety. Is it sitting in your chest? Okay, yeah, let's get to work on that." I don't have to be the master of your energy. My biggest teaching moment that I want to be known for is giving people the awareness of their own energy. I don't want to be anyone's energy guru. I don't want you to think I know more about your energy than you do. I want to ask the right questions to get you aware of your energy. "Hey, how are you feeling?" "You're feeling pretty heavy." "Okay. Where's that heaviness sitting? In your chest? In your belly?" "Ooh, it's in your belly." "Okay. Is that affecting your appetite?" "Yeah, not feeling very hungry." "Okay. Yep." "And then how long has that been there?" "Oh, it's been a few weeks. Did anything happen a few weeks ago?" "Oh, okay. Yep. Got it. We'll get that cleared out." So before you're even on the table, I just got so many pieces of your puzzle and I know exactly where to begin. This is why it's so important to talk to your client, understand why they're booking their appointment, understand how they're feeling, so that when they also leave and they get up off the table, they say, "Wow, my belly feels so much better already." Perfect. And it's going to keep getting better for the next 1 to 3 days as Reiki processes. And this is also something we talked about in the Advanced Reiki Practitioner course, how to understand energy, how to dig into all of this. It was a really, really fun thing to teach because it took me years to realize all of this. But after working with hundreds and hundreds of people and doing Reiki for 6 to 7 days a week for the past 5+ years, you learn a lot, and I want to share that with others. So I hope this conversation kind of gets you thinking. If you are a new Reiki practitioner, if you have been a Reiki practitioner, if you're a Reiki student, just understanding that your understanding of Reiki is not going to happen by Sunday at 5 p.m. when the course finishes. It's going to be a year later that things start to click. It's going to be 6 months later. It's going to be 3 years later. It gets even better and even deeper. And that's the fun part, the experience of it, and learning people's puzzles and learning how some puzzles are similar and some puzzles are so different. And sometimes you get people's puzzles all within the first 5 minutes and you're like, "Whoa, I understand what's going on here." Sometimes you don't get the puzzle until the very last second of the appointment. And it's around managing your expectations. So really love that conversation, that getting attuned, you just expect to know everything. And then how quickly are you humbled before you learn, "Oh, I have to do some work here. Oh, I have to practice this. Oh, I have to collect my understanding of the puzzles and the energy." And I know I sound like a broken record, guys, but when you are doing Reiki, you are building your manual. No one told you what the flashing light on the dashboard means. You have to figure out what that means for you. What does it mean when your eyes water? Because that's going to be different than when my eyes water. What does it mean when your nose gets itchy? That's going to be different than when my finger gets itchy. There's so many small things. And again, I can't say it enough. Nothing is too small to pay attention to. Nothing is too insignificant. Another mentee example, I had a call with someone yesterday and she said, "Hey, Steph, I've noticed that whenever spirit comes in, my nose has started to get itchy. What do you think of that?" And I said, "Sounds like it's a new sign. Sounds like that's part of your manual now." And she said, "Well, is that normal?" And I should make a whole podcast episode on, is that normal? But yes, it's normal for you because it's your sign. I shared with her that when I'm doing Reiki, it actually happens a lot with Distance Reiki. I'll start to scratch my pointing finger on my right hand, and it'll feel like the tip of my finger is so itchy. And it took me a while to realize, number one, I was even doing it. And then number two, that it's actually a sign for something. And I was like, oh my gosh, every time I'm working on someone, and if I start to get like super intuitive messages, I start to really scratch that like tip of my finger with my thumb. And that I realized was something new for my manual. So I said, mine is my fingertip, yours is your nose. These are the things you want to pay attention to, but this is all giving you help to figure out the puzzle of who you're working on. We're all humans. We're all very complicated and intricate, and everyone's so different and unique, and how their energy is moving and holding is so different and unique. So yes, there's some common threads with energy, but every single person's puzzle is going to be a little bit different, even though we are all a puzzle. So I wanted to give this podcast as a reminder that the second you get attuned to Reiki, it doesn't come with all the knowledge in the universe. So to manage your expectations, things do require practice, and a lot of practice, as anything else. I'm always comparing it to kids and a piano lesson. If you were putting your kids in piano lessons and paying for their piano lessons, what would you have them do? Every single night after school, they're practicing piano for 20 minutes because you bought them a lesson and you didn't buy it for nothing. Same when you're an adult. You don't just take a Reiki course and then think you're done and dusted. You practice 20 minutes every single day until you're feeling good, you're feeling confident. And that is what I say to my Reiki students when they have a million questions and they want to know everything at 4:55 on the Sunday of the course. I always say, go practice for 50 hours, and then if you still have questions, email me, contact me, let's chat. But I promise you, you're going to find out so much about your own puzzle in that 50 hours that's what you need to do. I can't tell you everything you need to know right now. I hope that gave you something to think about. Start thinking about your puzzle. Start thinking about other people's energy as puzzles when you're working on it. And I hope it also explains why we don't know everything the second we touch you, or the second you begin, or the second you're finished your Reiki course. If you haven't already, please leave the podcast a rating and a review wherever you are listening. It really helps the podcast grow. If you think someone would like this episode, send it over to them. If you want to book an appointment with me virtually or in person in Banff, Alberta, I will leave all the links that you need down below in the show notes. I will also leave the links to register for a Reiki course or purchase any of the workshop replays that I have. Everything is done on my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, I hope you have a wonderful week. Reminder, if you are a Reiki practitioner, continue your self-Reiki. Make sure you're practicing on yourself, even 5 minutes on somebody else. It doesn't have to be a lot. Just get that energy flowing. See you next Wednesday in your ears. Bye, everybody.